in the wake of the update video, this is going to be one of the only ways I'll be able to cover movies. Maybe in the future, I'll be able to talk with other people about some differing opinions or some consensus about some movie, but for now, this is what I'll be doing. It's just going to be a double feature of two movies I'd seen recently. And without further ado, let's get into the first one, The Act of Killing from 2012. The Act of Killing is a documentary that covers what happened in Indonesia from the 60s to 70s when the military overthrew the government and began a genocide of anyone that was a suspected communist or anyone that really disagreed with the government. And the way they did this is they kind of just empowered local gangsters and paramilitaries to perform the dirty work for them and gave them their full approval. The Act of Killing focuses on some of those perpetrators of this genocide. As once you go through the movie, you'll find that they never faced any justice at all for what they had done. And many of them remained in positions of power. So they go and interview them and ask them to recreate their experiences. And it's a fascinating documentary because they just cheerfully and nonchalantly describe how they murdered so many people. And that's what makes this documentary just so fascinating. It covers the stories of a few people, the most compelling of which, as you can see, is the Anwar Congo story, but that also kind of comes with my main criticism of this movie, and that everything with him is excellent. It's excellent. I love his story. I don't want to spoil anything. It's great. Just watch it for that. My one problem is that I kind of wish this whole documentary just focused on him and his journey throughout the making of this documentary. Because it does throw in some other people and some other ones, and while those are fascinating, those, gangsters and whatever, and their journeys and what they go through, it's not as much time devoted to those as it is to Anwar Congo, who his story is just a lot better. That's kind of my only criticism, though. I mean, it's really effective and it's great subject matter, and they handle it pretty well. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this one. I would say it's an 8, but probably more of a 9 out of 10. A really, really great documentary. The Look of Silence is a 2014 movie that is a companion piece to the 2012 movie. And while The Act of Killing focused more on the killers, as is in the name, The Look of Silence focused more on someone who had a relative that was killed in the genocide. And this person's an optometrist, and he goes around because many of those people who were executioners and those responsible are now elderly, so they need glasses or whatever, so you can actually use that to get to talk to them. He goes around and tries to find out not only what happened, but their experiences, whether they regret it or whether they feel responsible at all. And that's the general gist of the movie. Now, it is very, very interesting hearing these people talk about their experiences, and just the fact that, again, none of them faced any justice, and many of them remained in positions of power. He's just goes around just talking to the person in the village who ran the execution squads, and he just is completely justifying his behavior. And that kind of stuff is just fascinating to me, that mindset of how you can just compartmentalize that and just not think about that. That is all great. And all the various people he talks to and the culmination where it all leads to, I thought that was all really, really great. It was very, very powerful. And very sad, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah. All that about the documentary is really good. There was the things to do with his father. That was a little confusing to me because I'm not sure if that was supposed to imply that he was mentally broken because of the death of his son, or that he was just delirious as he became an old man. I thought that was a little, I guess, odd. I mean, it's sad, but I don't really know how much that merges with the subject matter. Maybe that's just me though, and someone could explain that, but I don't know. I don't understand why that's there. And other than that, compared to the act of killing conclusion was amazing. It built up to it, and that was the perfect ending it possibly could have done. The Look of Silence, well, it leads to something like that. It wasn't as powerful, and then a little meanders a bit, I guess I could say. Like, the conclusion wasn't as strong as the act of killing. And aside from that, there's a few moments where I feel like it could have been cut to save on some time. I mean, these documentaries are both really long. It probably could have applied to both. But other than that, I thought this was a really good documentary, and I would give it an 8 out of 10.